Hey, what's up, everybody? We just got the tariffs in place, and let's see what happens here. So we had the news event, right? But we also have one, two, three, four, five waves. We got five waves to the downside. Do we have bullish divergence? Yes, we do. We got bullish divergence. Do we have it on the 4 hour, though? Yes, we do. We have bullish divergence on the 4 hour, and we have five waves, and we didn't take the low out. So that's a good thing. That in itself is an accomplishment. Remember, the stock market's coming down, the dollar's coming down, gold, I mean, everything's coming down, but XRP is still holding above its $2 threshold. That doesn't mean it can't break it still, right? Because this could be like one, two, three, four. We could get an extended fifth wave that actually takes this low out and then kind of resets itself. So I'm looking for a bottom to come in here. So, people have no clue what tariffs are and how they work. It's pretty sad. The fake news is perpetuating this idea that uh, it's going to be passed down to the American consumer. The American consumer is going to be eating the tariff. So what's the point of the tariff anyway? Well, I'll obliterate that logic in just a second. So here we go. This is my full breakdown of how tariffs actually work and what their real motivation is actually, what the real motivation is. So let's say you have a suit and tie, right? You have a suit and tie that's made in Italy. And then you have another suit and tie that's made in the United States, right? Okay. So I'm the consumer and I'm sitting in a store and I have the American suit. It costs $100 or $150. The Italian suit cost $100, okay? But now Trump says, no, 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 right? And what do people do? They buy the Italian suit. Why? Because it's $50 cheaper and it's Italian. I mean, come on. So what does Trump say? All right, here's the tariffs. We're gonna charge reciprocal tariffs to everybody. And so what happens is now the Italian suit, the person who's manufacturing that Italian suit in Italy, right? They have to pay the tariff. They have to pay it first, right? They pay the tariff. So they pay the tariff, and then now the suit gets to get imported into the United States, right? Then what happens? There's one major thing happens. The Italian suit company can either choose, here's the big part right here. This is it. They can either choose, do we want to pay the tariff and remain competitive with the American suit? Or do we want to pass the tariff tax down to the consumer? Let's say for just a second that they pass it down to the consumer. The Italian suit company says, I don't want to pay this tariff. I'm not going to pay the tariff. I'm going to pass it right down to the American consumer. Okay, that's fine. Perfectly fine. Now, watch. Here's the magic. Ready? Here's the magic. Now, that same guy comes in the store and he looks at the American suit and he looks at the Italian suit, and the American suit is still $150. Actually, it's now $140 because more people are buying American suits because now the American suit can bring their price down a little bit. So now the American suit's maybe 130, $140. But the Italian suit is no longer $100. Guess what the Italian suit is? Now the Italian suit is $150. Okay, just an example. I'm just using it as an example. It could be a car, it could be wine, it could be agriculture, it could be anything. It could be any product, iPhone, it doesn't matter. Any product, a fireplace, a TV, a water dispenser, an air conditioner, a microwave, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is. So the guy's looking at the suit, okay? The American suit is $135, $140, and now the Italian suit is $150. What does the consumer do? The consumer, under the inflation, right? We have inflation, we have problems in the economy. What does the consumer do? They buy the American suit. Okay? That is exactly the purpose for the tariff, to get people to not buy other people's manufacturing goods, but rather buy American. So if go ahead and pass the price. See, that's what the fake news wants you to think. Oh, everything's going to be more, everything's going to be more expensive. No, 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 no. It's their option to pass it down to the consumer, or they're going to eat the cost. But here's the problem. They're damned if they do, they damned if they don't. If they pass the tariff down to the consumer, then the consumer can just buy something else, buy a competitive product, buy something that's competitive to that product, right? Most likely American, right? And there's something with NAFTA, or not NAFTA, USMCA, the Canada Mexico agreement, where some of the things are going to be excused, like some car parts and things like that. So, anyways, that's how tariffs work. But that's just that part. But here's here's the other part, which is even more interesting. So the consumer bought the American suit and did not buy the Italian suit, because the Italian suit company passed the tariff down to me, the consumer. So I chose to buy the American suit. Okay, so now I bought the American suit, me and 5,000 other people. And now the Italian suit company's like, you know what? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. I shouldn't have done that, or you know what? I'm losing money here. I can't do this anymore. So what does the Italian suit company do? By passing down the price, the tariff to the consumer, now they're not selling as much. Now they're losing money. So what do? They call on their country to drop the tariff, so that they can remain competitive. But as that's happening, you have other, as that's happening, right? Because Italian suit company can't call up Italy's prime minister and be like, yo, drop the tariff. I'm losing money on my suits. But if you get a whole bunch of people, you know, eventually they're going to fold, right? And then, but that's just another piece, but there's another piece to it as well. The Italian suit company's like, you know what? What if we start making suits in America? What if we start buying the linen, the materials, the whatever, to make the suit, buy it from America, right? Buy the ingredients that it takes to build that car, build that suit, right? Buy it in the United States to avoid the tariff. They could do that. Or they can choose to make their suits in the United States, and then you have no tariff, right? So, like, let's say I'm a big Italian suit company, and and it's kind of a bad example, because why would an Italian suit company make their product in the United States? They pride themselves about being we're Italian, So, but the thing is, they don't have to. They can keep making their suits in Italy and keep selling them at premiums, and people will buy them. Or people can choose to buy the American suit. But here's the cool part. The Italian suit company can choose to also make their product in the United States, build a store in the United States, and that's how you can get around the tariff, right? So they still selling suits. They're still making suits in Italy and selling suits around the world, right? Just using suits as an example, or it could be cars, it could be whatever. Um, so, but they are not selling it into the United States. Instead, what they would do is they would invest money in the United States and build a manufacturing plant, a business in the United States, and then sell those suits within the United States. They'll still have their business in their country, and they're still going to sell to their own people and everywhere else around the world, right? And by the way, if we look just real quick here, all right, let's look at some of these countries here. So if we look here, and let's take India as an example. All right, India charges us 52% on our stuff, to sell their stuff, right? Let me ask you a question. What does India What does India charge Taiwan? What does India charge Switzerland? What does India charge China? I want to know. I want to know what India charges Taiwan. I want to know, and you can see right here, Thailand charges us 72%. Well, what does Thailand charge Switzerland? Is it 72%? I don't know. All right, so here we go. Now here's where it gets really crazy and interesting, and this is how I blow apart the fake news narrative. And it's so interesting because let me ask you a question. The fake news comes on and they say Trump's tariffs, oh my god, they're ruining everything. They're crashing the stock market. They're crashing crypto. They're going to destroy. He's disrupting everything. There's going to be all of this pain and all of this chaos and I can't take it anymore. Right? That's what people are thinking. That's what people are feeling. They're being conditioned to believe tariffs are bad. Even Mark Cuban, he's very smart. I mean, he's a billionaire. You got to be pretty smart to be a billionaire. You have to be smart, I think. I'm pretty sure, right? So, but he tweeted out, "Are tariffs good or are tariffs bad?" He's doing it in a sarcastic, snarky way. He doesn't want the tariffs. Obviously, he has a lot of businesses, and he's gonna have to pay those tariffs because he has his businesses manufacturing in China and everywhere else, right? But here's the part where it's really, this is where your mind gets blown right now. Ready? Here's your mind gonna get blown in just a second. So the fake news, they come out and they say you are going to pay more money for your everyday items and it's going to suck. Okay, fine, fair enough, fair enough. Let me ask you this though. Okay, 34% tariff, right? So now we're going to charge China 34%. And it's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt us, the consumer. Okay, so let me ask you a question then. Why? Here we go. Ready, ready, ready. Why does China charge us 67% if it's going to hurt the people of China? Does it hurt the people of China? I don't think so, right? Why would Switzerland charge 61%? 61%. We charge them 31%. If the Swiss people can handle a 61% tariff, why can't the American people handle a 31% tariff? Bum, bum, bum. Can anybody answer that for me? That just completely blows away the fake news narrative. The fake news narrative is what? You, the American consumer, are going to pay more money for your products because the tariffs, because the manufacturers are not going to eat the cost. They're going to pass the cost down to you. But if they pass the cost down to me, then I'm going to choose a different company. I'm going to choose an American company. But guess what? That American company is going to cost more money. But that's right now. But once we have more and more American companies, now we're going to have multiple American companies compete, which is going to bring the cost down. But also, we're transitioning away from the central banking fiat currency enslavement system into a new decentralized gold-backed, right? We're going to have a new currency. It's just going to happen. Look at the dollar. Go to the dollar right now. Type in DXY. The dollar is dying. It's done for. The BRICS nations are moving around the dollar. China's dumping treasuries. Russia is dumping. They're buying records amounts of gold. The world is positioning themselves against the United States dollar. And Trump wants to kill the dollar because the dollar is associated with the Federal Reserve, and that whole entire system is a fraud. It's a scam. He said in his, oh my God, he said yesterday in his speech, he spoke in the Rose Garden, guys. He spoke in the Rose, and what did he say? What did he say? He said 1913. That's what he said. He said for whatever reason in 1913 they issued the income tax, and that's another thing. That's the third part. So I talked about the first part, which is the Italian suit company, right? The second part is what I'm talking about now. The third part of it is going to be, the net result of all of this, of what happens, which is really to get countries to make their product here, right? Or to get companies to make their product here. And the tariffs are a deterrent. Basically, they're deterring you because our country's being ripped off. It's not sustainable. It's not going to work, right? And I think people know that. I think people understand there's massive trade imbalances. But I think also people know that tariffs are bad and they're not good. But here's the thing: they are used as leverage, right? But there's multiple reasons for the tariffs. It's not just one thing. There's multiple reasons for the tariffs, right? So why isn't everyone in Taiwan, or let's say the European Union, why isn't everyone in the European Union homeless? They're charging us a 39% tariff. So everybody should be broke, and everybody in Europe should be devastated, right? Because they're charging us 39%. That's the fake news narrative right there. So we're charging Europe 20%. And what does the fake news say? We're going to eat that cost. Okay, but if we're eating that cost, then that means European citizens are eating the cost of 39%. That means Vietnam citizens are paying 90%, right? They pay 90%. That means that they're really eating the cost, right? So if I'm an American company and let's say I make gloves and I send those gloves to Vietnam, and then Vietnam charges me 90%. And then I take that 90% and I pass it down to the consumer, which is who? The Vietnamese consumer. So now, or I eat the cost. So that's the choice the company has. If I pass it down to the Vietnamese consumer, then that means he's going to pay more for my gloves. Why did Vietnam do that? Why did Vietnam do that? Because Vietnam doesn't want you to buy American gloves. Vietnam wants you to buy Vietnamese gloves, right? They want you to buy their own gloves. They don't want you to buy other people's, right? So that's why they charge a ridiculous 90%. Basically, this 90% is an admission fee to access their people. Let me just say that again. This is the grand finale right here. Ready? Vietnam charges us 90% as an admission fee to sell to their consumer. Okay. So let me ask you this. Here we go. Ready, here we go. If their consumer is worth 90%, then how come we're not worth 46%? What should the price of admission be to sell to the greatest citizens on earth? Right? If I live in Germany, I believe Germany is the best country on earth. If I live in Canada, I'm all for Canada. If I'm in India, I'm all for India. If I'm in Japan, I'm all for Japan. I live in the United States, so I'm all for the United States. Right? So our citizens, the price of admission, right? So what should we charge other countries for the price of admission to sell to our great American consumers? How come we're only worth 46%, but Vietnam citizens, they're worth 90%, right? It's basically like, look, if you go to somewhere, I don't know, like a concert, right? And you want front row tickets to your favorite band, and they're going to charge you a lot of money for those seats. It's like Vietnam got the front row seat, right? Vietnam is getting front row seats to this concert. But America, we're somewhere in the nosebleeds. We're way in the back. Doesn't American citizens deserve to be in the same front row seat as Vietnam? Right? I mean, if they're charging us 90%. So the fake news wants us to think that because we charge Vietnam 46% while they kill us with 90%, that it's going to be passed on to the American consumer and we're all going to die, pretty much. Right? So that's the whole thing with the tariffs, right? Nobody will explain it the way I explained it. Nobody will explain it the way I explained it. Not the fake news. I haven't seen anybody explain it like this, right? So anyways, let's jump into the price. I mean, cuz at the end of the day, the tariffs are not to pass down to the consumer. That's not what it's about. This is about rebalancing all of the trade that is going throughout the world. Because how could you get away with a country charging us 80% and we're only charging them 2 or 3 or 5%, right? It doesn't make any it's not it doesn't how is that fair? It's not. So when we change it, they want you to believe that it's going to be more painful for us, the consumer, and maybe in some cases in same products it will be, but that's why we have capitalism. That's why we have competition. That's why we can choose, do I want to buy, Hanes underwear? I have to buy Hanes underwear. Or no, 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 no. I have the option. I don't have to buy Hanes. I could buy Fruit of the Loom underwear, right? I have options. I can choose what I want, you know? So if, and this is gonna drive business. And let me tell you, it's a big disruptor. I'm not saying it's not easy, right? It's difficult for everyone. The markets don't like it because the markets feel that the markets are believing the narrative of what the fake news is saying, which is that Americans aren't going to be able to afford the tariffs. Well, then we're not gonna buy your product. Then we're not going to use it, right? So this is all a deterrent. Number one, this is to make the trade balance. Number two, this is a deterrent to make specifically American companies build their product in America. If you look at the F-150, look at this. Look at this. This is from the Wall Street Journal. I'll just play a little tiny bit of it. But of the Ford F-150, right? There's so many parts in that truck, and like one part comes from Afghanistan, or one part comes from China, one part comes from Mexico, one part comes from Canada. So how does that work? You know what I mean? Listen to this real quick.
President Trump's auto tariffs are here, and that means
a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff.
But no car, not even a U.S.-built Ford F-150,
I don't know if
is
the music might
100% U.S.
hurt
made.
me, so
Just look inside.
It's made up of thousands and thousands of parts. Those parts come from over 24 different countries.
Countries like Mexico, Canada, Romania. Trump wants these parts to say made in the U.S. But moving all of this is not so simple.
To lift and shift that whole thing, that's kind of like saying, pick up the state of Maine and move it over to Wyoming. Could you do it? I suppose you could, but man, it would be tough duty.
That's right. It's going to be tough duty. There you go. I'm not going to play the whole thing for copyright reasons, but anyways, this is taking back our country, right? Look, in order to grow, you got to feel uncomfortable, right? Like, think about somebody who is trying to be like a famous actor or something. Like, they got to get out of there. You got to get out of your comfort zone, right? In order to grow. If you just live in your bubble and you have no pressure or no, you know, anything, you're going to feel too comfortable. This is about making people, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone so that we can grow as a nation, right? So I think once the tariffs take place, I think people are going to realize, you know what? It's not so bad. It's not as bad as they made it. Excuse me. It's not as bad as they made it out to be. Remember, Trump had tariffs in his previous administration, and nothing crazy happened, right? So this is basically tariffing. This is putting all the tariffs in place. I'm not sure why he didn't want to do all of it in his last administration. I'm pretty sure I know why, because he would have lost his leverage because he knew he was going to lose that second election, because he had to lose it in order for Joe Biden to take us down that path, in order for him to bring it back, right? So, but anyways, man, what a crazy time. So let's take a look at the stock market for a minute. S&P 500, top 500 companies in the world. Let's take a look here if it will open up. There we go. You can see we had a big slam down, took us below this low here. Let's take a look. Okay, you could see a little bit of bullish divergence, not much. I want to know, I mean, I don't like how obviously this can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because the 2 took the top of wave 1. So this has to be wave 1. This has to be wave 2. And what if we're in wave 3, 4, and then we get 5 and we have to have a big drop? I mean, it's certainly possible. We're finding some support in here. I would imagine we would find a little bit of support in there. Let's take a look real quick at the Dow. The Dow's a little bit easier to read. Yeah, I got a 3-wave pullback here, and it appears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Looks like we're getting there. I would imagine we would need a little bit more downside here, but I think, at least a retracement is coming here. So if we get 3 down, you want to see 3 up before maybe coming back down further, right? We'll have to see how it develops. But we could be flagging out here for a little while. The old expression, sell in May and go away, is coming up too. So we'll see how that plays out. But anyways, let's take a look around crypto and see. By the way, the dollar is completely just getting crushed. Look at this. We had a major move down in the dollar. This is a good thing for crypto, very good. However, it's it's a little bit wishy-washy, and I think this is going to build up a lot of pent-up demand for crypto because of the dollar is so low right now, right? Because what we have here is a big move down, right? That's an A, and then look what we did. We had 1, 2, 3 waves up. There's your retrace. This is what I'm expecting for crypto now is getting some type of 3-wave retrace, right? And there's your B. And now what is happening now? Wave C. What is C? A very fast and vicious wave, very violent, very quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get 5 waves down in wave C. Right? And then once we're down here, it's going to be really interesting. I think that's when crypto can really start to move, hopefully. I still think a big crypto season is coming. Maybe not so much for Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin looks like, obviously it has 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could come up and hit the high again, but I think that's probably it, because then you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? That's that's definitely oversold or overbought, right? But let's take a look at something like ADA, where you also have a big move down, right? This could be an A, and this whole thing could be some kind of B wave. And now we have to come down in wave C. Very possible, right? And that is like the ultimate doom and gloom scenario. I'm not totally on board with that scenario. If we start breaking below 45 cents and 40 cents, if we start taking that out, then it's not going to look that good, right? So we do have this trend line here, right? And we do have a lot of confluence right in this area. So if we have to flag out to the downside, just like how we flagged out to the downside here, just like how we flagged out to the downside here, to get the pop, to get the pop, then maybe so be it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go up and get 5. And that could be some kind of diagonal, right? We have a three-way pullback. We go into some kind of reaccumulation, and then we head on to expansion. That's just a simple idea for the time being, but let's take a look closely here. It's not really much to say. To me, it looks like you got, see, this is out of proportion, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It looks like you have a three-way move developing here. So once this wave is finished, I'm expecting a move back up. So here's the thing, the news already happened. Everybody knows about the tariffs. It's the real deal, right? So, now the market is pricing in what's next, right? The market already priced in the tariffs. It's not like people don't know about it. Everybody on the planet knows about it. All the countries know about it. All the people know about it. So if they were going to sell, everyone who would have sold would probably already sold. I don't see anyone else too much more selling to go unless we have some kind of liquidation or some cascading problems. But what I see 3 down, I see 3 up, and I see 3 back down. It looks like we're getting this three-way move back down. I don't know how big it's going to be, but once it finishes, that's a three-way move. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Maybe we have to come down here where these trend lines meet in order to go back up, and then we have a WXY. I mean, it's definitely possible and plausible. Bitcoin, I don't like the way Bitcoin quite looks. It's okay. All right, so here we go. We have, if this is going to be bullish, this needs to be a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's a wave 1, and then we have A. This comes up for B, and now we're coming down for C, right? So we have 1, and then A, B, C, 2. So we want to hold support in here. We don't want to take the low out. We want to hold above 80K. As long as we're above 80K, I think we're okay. Hold here, and then start making your way back up. And what that will do is that'll create a bigger A, B, C. It'll create a bigger three-way move, and then we can reevaluate once we get there. If we get there, we'll see. This is not financial advice. I'm just giving you my ideas. I could be totally wrong, so just be aware of that. Another problem, though, is we have not yet back-tested the top of this area at 70K, right? So we created this massive area, and we broke out of it, and now we're creating this A, B, C. We could have a C wave that gets us down here, and this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then once we land here, that's when we can start making our retracement, guys. So that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. Or if not, then we hold the low and we get a bigger three-way move up, right? And then we come back and hit this area. Or there's a lot of alternatives, or we can simply just make your way up into a retracement from here. So I want to see what happens here. Do we break the low? If we do, that's okay, because we're back testing. We could back test this area here, right? Because at the end of the day, we are flagging here. We're awesome. We're not crashing. We're not crashing like this. We're oscillating down, right? We're correcting to the downside. We're not crashing. So that means, yeah. And again, the tariffs already happened. So I think, you know, this is bad news, right? Because the tariffs are being perceived as what? Bad news. And if markets are down and everyone's bearish, then that means a bullish move is on the horizon. Because how do markets work? They get bullish, they get bearish. 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 I mean, it happens over and over and over and over and over. And when you get extremely bearish, people think we got more bearish to come, but then you get bullish again. And then they get bullish and then we get bearish again. So it's really a roller coaster, right? And we're just riding the waves. Now, I don't think the low is I don't think that we don't have any more downside. I think we do have more downside. I think we do because, you could see this wick right here. We got rejected and we got slammed back down. It looks like it needs to come down here and finish somewhere down in here at the support level. And then hopefully we can create a base because that's really what we really want to see is creating some kind of base in here, right? Where we have maybe we get back down here and we find some support down in here and then we move our way back up, move our way back down. Maybe we could do a Wyckoff, a liquidity grab, and then continue higher. That would be a setup to look for, some type of base to get built. So, but honestly, it doesn't look that appealing. It looks a little bit worrisome. I mean, the move was coming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it looks like, if that's a three-way pullback, I mean, that's one of the weirdest ones. And it's not because we took the low. You could see right here, that's invalid because we just took the low. So this is not a diag, but a B wave. A, B, C, right? So I think we're in C now. And it could be a running flat. It could be a flat because we came all the way back up to the top. So A, B comes all the way back to the top and then come all the way back down. That's a flat right here. So we have a perfect flat. The question is it going to continue down? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. If this is wave 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of wave 3, then we could be continuing to accelerate. But I just feel like with all the tariffs and everyone wants us to be bearish, I just feel like this is a trap. I feel like I feel like we're gonna have more downside, but I feel like it's some kind of trap. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like, because the narrative is like the bull market is over and we're going to enter a bear market. But here's the problem with that. We never had a bull market. Only Bitcoin had a bull market. The rest of the market didn't. Let's look at total. Whoops. Let's look at total 2 here for a moment. So total 2, it looks pretty bearish, but it looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. This looks like an A, probably get a B, and then you have to come back down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C. And if we could get some kind of push in that retrace, this is the bearish idea, right? And then we kind of go into reaccumulation and then we break out at a later day. That's kind of how I think about this. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. This is my main bullish idea. And that gives us a beautiful structure. Why? Because now we have a rise, a crash, a retrace. We come down into reaccumulation. We have a three-way pullback. We go sideways a little bit, and then we break out and go up to 3 to 5 trillion, or even 10 trillion, honestly. Let's see exactly where we're going to go. I'll tell you. We are going to at least At least. Is this on log scale or is it on linear? We're going to at least 2.5 trill. All the way up to 4 or even 5 trillion. I mean, we can easily hit 5, right? But the problem with this chart is that we started way down here, right? You see how this rally started? We had a big bull market, we had a crash, we had a small wave up, but then we had an equal wave down, which gave us this big move up. But if you look, we came down, we bottomed, and we've been going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, right? It's not a bull market because, we haven't went into expansion, but we went all the way up back to the top. So if this has to come down like this in order to break out, just like how we had this W shape here, what if we get the W shape here? It makes sense because I don't think we're going to go into expansion breaking out into all. I mean, we could, but it's going to be very hard because we lost a lot of momentum. That's why this wave is our only chance at resetting the momentum, right? We're resetting the oscillators. We're resetting the momentum. So I don't know if this could be a running flat. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave A. And then we have 1, 2, 3. That's a B. It's a massive running flat. And then we have 1, 2. See, it doesn't look finished though. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like we need 4 and then 5. Something like that. And that's C. A, B, C. A big, massive running flat or even a regular flat. And then we go up. I mean, yeah, that's possible too. But any way you slice it and dice it, we have 5 waves up, and we slammed right into here. So I think we will break this high. We will. I repeat, we will break that high. I guarantee we will. I bet almost anything that we will break that high, 100%. Maybe not right away. Maybe it might take a little bit of time. The best way I see this coming, we got to come down a little bit and then swoop up, and that creates your W pattern, right? It creates a higher low because here's a low, but where's the higher low? You could say here's a higher low, here's a higher low, here's a high. Yeah, but that's part of the same wave. That's all one wave. We need a separate wave that gives us a higher low. So all of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's all one wave. The way it becomes a separate wave is we need to go back up, guys. That's why I still think we're going to get a big move up. So once we get a move back up, this is going to set a higher lower low, a lower high, and then we come down like that. And then now this 3-wave move is a separate wave, and there's your low and there's your higher low. And then we start building upon that, just like what XRP did, right? Look at XRP right here. You can see it clear as day. So you could see how much structure we've had here with XRP. So this is why I still think XRP has a new high, because if we need a retracement, guys, which I believe we do, this is a big move down. We need some kind of retrace. So if we go down a little bit further, then whatever, but we're going to get a retracement. You can count on it. We're going to get a retrace. Once we get that retrace, that's when I think XRP 1, 2, 3, 4 can come up and hit that 5th wave. And then it's over, and then we come down, and then we come down. So that's what I think's playing out here, because this is the same, it's a similar structure, right? You got the rise, you got the crash, you got the retracement, right? This could be a retrace, right? I don't like it because it's 5. It doesn't make sense too much if it's a retrace, but it still is a retrace, right? It's not like we're going to get a ABC, like a massive crash like that. I think it'd be more like we come down 50% of the wave. So somewhere around here, we come down 50%. And then we kind of go into some reaccumulation. Not as long as this. I don't think it's going to be that long. So you could see, like right over here, like this is a very good example right here, right here. Look at this. You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then look what happened. Look what happened. You had a big crash. This is what we're doing now. Big crash. And then what happened after that? You got a retracement. That's what we should look for now. Okay. So this move right here. So you have the crash. Let's get the retrace. That's what's coming. But the tariffs and all the narratives, they want you to think, no, we're going to just keep crashing and burning, and we're going to go into a bear market. Well, okay. We haven't been in a bull market yet. Just letting you know. So here's the 2021 high. We haven't even broke it yet. So, but we've been going up for the last 2 years. This wave is 2 years long, right? It started in 2023. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This is a 2-year 5-wave move to the upside. So we've been going up for the last 2 years, right? For this total 2 chart. So, if we have to come back down in 3 and then go sideways and then break out, just like this, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. I mean, it only makes sense, right? So, anyways, let's or we're back at 202. So, and what's even more interesting is despite all of the carnage we've seen, XRP is still holding that $2 area, which is pretty interesting. So let's see how it continues to play out. But looking at XRP real quick on the small time frames, again, we got 5 waves down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. You have bullish divergence very strongly on the 1 hour. Let's go up to the 6 hour. We know we have it on the 4 hour. We even have it on the 6 hour chart. We have bullish divergence on the 6 hour. Let's go to the 8 hour. We got it. Oh my God, we got it on the 8 hour. Look at that. Let's go to the 12 hour. We have it on the 12. Wow. We have it on the 12 hour chart too. Let's go. No, it's not going to, I guarantee it will not be on the daily. Yeah, there's no way. So we have bullish divergence all the way up to the 12 hour chart, right? Which is a good indicator that this 5th wave is coming to an end. So do we have 5 waves in the 5th?